Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the episode 30 of the Podkatz with your host Jason Katz. No, wait. The Podkatz with Jason Katz with your host Jason Katz. We'll get that on the first try someday. Today is Friday. Yeah, we're filming on a Friday. Getting close to the deadline. Friday, August 21st, 2026. What are we doing? What are we talking about? What's in the news today? Well, it's been a very, there's been a lot of emotions this week. Emotionally, I feel like I've hit the wall. Does that make sense? Like, we're approaching, you can't see it, but there was like an empty wheelchair. I was in therapy on Monday, and I think we hit the wall of the core issues that make me feel uncomfortable that I need to address to get self-growth so we can keep going, I guess. I don't really, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those ones where it's just like, she was like, you come here a lot, and it feels like every week, like we keep going in circles to a certain extent, besides like obvious physical growth, like, you know, being more stable and living and stuff like that. But it's hard for me to label my emotions and my feelings. Did you know that feelings and emotions are two different things? I didn't. Because she asked me, like, do you even know what the definitions of these, like, emotions are? And I'm like, do I know the definition of happiness? And I was like, no. And so I did a bunch of notes on the definitions of feelings, the definition of letting go of feelings, the definition of processing feelings, the definitions of, like, I mean, there's this thing called the emotions wheel, and the 6 main ones, I did some definitions, but, like, what I've learned is the definitions of feelings involve other feelings. It's kind of, they're not the best definitions. Like the definition of happiness is like experiencing the feeling or being in the state of joy. And it's like, well, joy is also a feeling. So then I looked up the feeling of joy, and it was like being in a state of great happiness or something like that. It was just like, well, wait a minute. Do we just not have a definition? Am I the only one seeing this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. So that's hard. But she did get me to the point where I'm like, I'm like, oh, that's uncomfortable. And she's like, why? And she's like, well, I kind of like being in this, I mean, what I guess we'll label it as is like this safe space. One of the books I'm reading calls it the waiting room. And I got myself to say that I'm comfortable there, which is a great first step, because the waiting room is designed to be a safe place to wait. And comfort does not mean like growth, or not growth. Like, comfort is good, but like living in comfort to avoid other things and other feelings and emotions is what we're talking about. That's not good. So, like, I'm comfortable with the choices I've made to, like, basically isolate myself, but that is only because it's familiar. Because my parents, like, prided themselves on being alone. And, yeah. They very much love being an outcast. Which in some ways can work. You know? Like, sometimes in traffic, if everyone's going on one way, my dad would find a better route where we're moving quicker than the traffic, and that's great, you know? But like, humans by nature are social beings. And I think that he lives in this like very safe pride mindset where it's like, yeah, being alone is great. That's his defense mechanism. And I think I've adopted a lot of that. It's just hard to meet people emotionally. This is not going well. I mean, it is actually. This is actually very healthy. It just doesn't feel good to verbalize, because that means we have to address it. And addressing, that's, I think, part of it, is like addressing the things that I can label is a lot of work that historically was put on me to do the self-work at like an age where like 5, where like it was like, well, no, you're supposed to, you know, be my parent. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I was 5, my mom was like, do it yourself, and I was like, what? Like, I can't really think of an example, but you know, like, oh my god. Okay, thank you. I like that. They slowed down, but then they were like, oh my god, I'm not going to pace of traffic, and they instantly sped up. That's good driving. That's good. I've been seeing a lot of TikToks. They're basically the same thing. It's bad Seattle drivers, and it's hella funny. But there's like 4 of them, and that's not good. We need to consolidate that. Ugh. I need to shave my nose hair. You know, that's a body standard. I don't know. Not a body standard. Beauty image. Beauty standard. Beauty standard. You don't see Brad Pitt with nose hair. Oh my god. But you know, life is a journey, and a journey requires ups and downs, and a down is not always failure. I think I just perceive it as failure, which is problematic. Like yesterday, I kind of crashed out at a mic. In my opinion, I think I was setting a boundary, because there's this comedian that keeps using my name in jokes, and I've told them to stop before politely. And last night they did it like for 2 separate jokes, and I was like, shut the fuck up. I kind of Will Smith. And then I went up, and it was kind of an awkward set. But when I rewatched it, I realized that the awkward set, like the awkward feelings, the negative feelings were only until I watched the tape. Because when I watched the tape, I was like, this is not as bad as I thought it was, you know? This isn't this like life-ending social pariah thing. And honestly, there's some good premises in there. But, you know, it is what it is. It's a learning thing, right? It's a journey. It's an up. Like, I perceived it as a failure, but it's actually just a down. And it's not exactly like a failure. If it is a failure, it's a learning opportunity. Because I realized, one of the biggest rules in comedy is that, like, if somebody you're making fun of has the mic after you, you're not in the best position. And I realized that there's a good comeback to that I will utilize the next time I'm in this situation, because, you know, that is a part of comedy, is having to deal with people that will get the mic after you. So, I mean, a good example of this actually is it's a story where, like, it was like like Dane Cook's like album, something big for Dane Cook at whatever club, I think it was the Comedy Store, Dave Chappelle was just like, I don't normally do this. Like, it was like Dave Chappelle was on, and then Dane Cook. And then Dave Chappelle was like, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to go outside and smoke cigarettes or something if you guys want to hang out. And then he, like, took the audience away from Dane. At least I think that is how the story goes. But that is a valuable skill, is like, you know, sometimes people have the mic after you, and you know, getting the last laugh is or like the best laugh. Like, they can get the last laugh. Dude, don't do that. This guy, I was trying to change lanes and the guy like sped up. I feel like a lot of Washington, maybe this is just all drivers, but when someone does that, it feels like they feel like I'm cutting them, and it's like, bro, I'm not cutting you. There's no line. We're all just trying to get to the right destination. But also, you know, in the moment when I'm angry, in the moment when I'm setting a boundary and I feel uncomfortable and awkward and angry and that everyone in the room is mad at me, that is in my head. And I noticed that in the tape because, like, I felt really awkward saying my set, but my pronunciation, like, it wasn't like I word bombed it. I guess that's performance. What was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, I had a point. Am I gonna remember it? Oh, also, part of this is that I went up there and I brought it back. You know, the host did it at the beginning, and I could have, you know, not brought it up again and focused on it and attacked the host, which puts the audience against me, technically. They're not against me, but you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, I mean, honestly, this is where Trump succeeded, but like, historically in debate and stuff like that, when you attack your opponent, it makes you look bad. Not that this was a debate. I'm just saying that is a part of like stage presence, I believe. The point is that we can grow from this. And yeah, that's about it. I don't know. I don't really have anything else. I don't think I did anything. I don't think I burned. I was talking to someone outside and they were like, oh, you can just keep burning bridges, you know, focus on the internet. And I was like, I don't think I even burned a bridge, to be honest. And if I did, you know, there's a million other mics. There's a million other opportunities. But I think I'm in this like weird position where like I should be getting booked more. Or not, sorry. I think I need to do more shows, which requires to get booked more. Because I feel stuck in this open mic, and that's frustrating to people. Because people, at least from what I saw when I first started, would get jealous of the people who moved up quicker. And it's not like, you know, I don't know, it's not like a reflection on me or anything. It's just more of a reflection on like, or the person that got mad at. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that like everyone's on their own journey, and I've also seen people that were mad about not getting booked eventually get booked. Going back to the whole comedy is a marathon, not a sprint. So, what did we learn here today? Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. No, but like, I don't know. Sometimes things just happen. But I don't know. I think I can let this go. I now have the definition of letting go of my feelings. I think we've labeled them. I think this has been a good way to process them. And now the hardest part is letting go of your feelings and not ruminating on it. because, I mean, I'm going to see the person tonight, other shit could happen. The sun could explode. None of this would matter. Besides that, it's hard to get back on the wagon. I'm trying my hardest to become sober again. I feel like that's good for me because I don't know moderation when it comes to drugs and alcohol. Man, there's just so much traffic the other way. There needs to be a better way. We need to start building highways on top of highways. And not like how LA does it. I mean, like this road, there should be a second level. But what about if it collapses? I don't know. Other than that, physically life has been going great. Emotionally though, life has been a struggle because I think I am for the first time connecting to my emotions. I think a lot of people live in a life where they just don't really connect to their emotions or feelings about the emotions. Because it turns out that emotions require outside inputs and feelings are your feelings about the emotions from the outside inputs. Like if you get kicked in the leg, you go, ow, I feel pain and angry. Or the emotions are that. But then you go like, well, how do I feel about getting kicked? And I think learning that at the age of 29, holy crap. I don't know. There's people that just never realize that. Oh, that's another thing. If you're a fan of the Podkatz, in May, I went too hard on a heckler. And then the next day, I immediately apologized. And Tuesday, at the mic where this happened, to refresh the audience, it is the audience member I alienated was a friend of the owners. Like for the longest time, this mic had no audience. It was just like the owners, like 4 friends. They're all like old white guys in that whole like UW boating kind of mid 50s. You know how it is if you live in Washington, if you live in Seattle. There's some weird shit going on. I don't know. Anyways. He goes, oh, I finally got your email. I finally read it. And to be fair, there was a huge tragedy at this location. So, like right after I sent the email. So, no, like, oh, why didn't you read it? Like, it was very understandable. Probably got lost in an inbox. And then I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, he's never coming back down there. He's going to keep supporting my business, but like, he's not going to go participate in comedy. And I'm like, oh, like, do you want me to like say anything or? And he's like, no, I just want you to learn from it. And I'm like, yeah, I did. Like, and I was like, do you want me to leave? Like, I can leave if it makes him feel better. If he like, I won't come to this mic if he wants to like go down there. And he's like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay. Then why are you telling me this? Like, if you're just telling me this without like, and also not to like overanalyze that guy's decision, but I wonder what other rooms he doesn't go in. That seems like a very emotional response and a survival response. And I mean, he is like a male in his 40s or 50s. Also, it was his birthday. I didn't know it was his birthday, but maybe I did. I don't remember. But the point is that like, that is probably a response to something else, someone else. And I do wish him the best because you shouldn't feel unwelcome in a room, right? I don't mean to make him feel unwelcome in that room, but the decision to be like, I am never going back, there's nothing you can say, seems to be a little closed-minded. Although I can tell that is probably a safety response. You know, like I don't know. I kind of do the same thing with this one mic. I bombed very hard there. Got very embarrassed. I haven't been back there in like a year or 2 years now. So, sure. But, you know, I mean, it seems like a safety response. And I feel bad for that because, like, my goal is not to make people not want to participate in comedy. My goal is to make people laugh while expressing myself. No, but like that is the basis of art and comedy. So, you know, if this guy ever hears this, feel free to come back. I can talk. I was like, I can talk to him if you want. He was like, nah. But in my mind, my first reaction was like, then why are you talking to me about it? If there's nothing to be done, if there's no solution other than you're just letting me know. I already knew this, by the way. Somebody told me, because one of the people that ran the mics said that too, and I was like, okay, weird. I wish I could come up with an example for this. Maybe like a car accident, right? It's like you can't undo a car accident, but when someone's just like, yeah, you caused that car accident, it's like, I know I did. Do you want me to like pay the guy's hospital bills? No. Then what's the, you know? Maybe I'm thinking too solution oriented from this. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter. I gotta stop doing that. In the grand schemes of my career as a comedian and the universe, does it matter? Because, probably not. You know, I mean, there's a few, like, I don't know, it's like, I think it was Ari Shaffir's. Ari Shaffir has this long, he has this there's a few comics that have like a clinic. It's like a Q&A for like 3 hours, and I think Ari says in one of those, he's like, yeah, sometimes you're just not going to make certain rooms laugh, and that's important, I guess. You know, like, not everyone, I mean, we all want to be the funniest person ever, but comedy in itself requires context and timing, and if everyone in the room contextually doesn't want it, there's not much you can do unless you're like, I mean, I would assume, you know, most professional comedians can do more than I can do right now, but like you know, it's like it'd be like, this is a fucked up metaphor, but like, it'd be like Hitler going to like Auschwitz and being like, might be, you know, like, and they're like, no, there's really nothing you can do, man. Like, the damage is done. I guess I can only accept that. Might be. I mean, maybe I gotta stop comparing stuff to the Holocaust. One of my favorite South Park quotes is PC Principal being like, hey, what did I tell you kids about comparing things to the Holocaust when you don't get your way? So funny, because it implies that like his students do that a lot. Well, you know, people do that a lot. I do that a lot. Especially, you know what? That's a good example of what I'll bring this up. We'll circle back. So, I got a Chase Bank. I got a Chase Bank card. I've got no interest, APR, whatever, for like almost 2 years, right? The intro special for most credit cards. No interest for a certain amount of time. And I got that for the sole purpose of consolidating my credit. I've got like 45 to maybe like 5,000 credit card debt over it was over 4 different cards. So, in the grand scheme of things, not much. And I went through and I balance transferred all the ones except for my other Chase credit card, which is currently charging me interest. Now, I've been trying on the app to do it, but every time I try to do it, Chase is going, oh, this feature isn't available right now. Sorry, try again later. And I was like, okay, maybe it's just, my phone's not the newest. It still has a button. It's an iPhone with a button. Yeah, I went into a Chase and I was like, can we do this over you guys? And the lady looked it up and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, we just don't, that's not possible. And that set me off because I was like, it's not possible. And I was like, I kind of played dumb at first. I was like, oh, do you guys not have the technology to do it? And then she was like, no, it's just one of our policies. When you sign up for the card, it says you can't balance transfer Chase cards. And I'm like, oh, so we can only balance transfer the ones where you guys don't make money, And I was just I started obsessing about the rule a little bit because I was like, oh, this rule sucks, because it does suck. That's a shitty rule. What, you're gonna stop me from trying to give you less money? The only reason I got the card itself was so that I could put all my debt on one credit card and pay no interest until I could pay it off. And I've done about half of that. But now it's Chase, what are we doing here? Fuck you guys. That's being well, no. Everybody deserves a equal and fair invest. Actually, you know what it is? It's like the insider trading thing. There was an insiders trading act that was just shot down in Congress, and all of most of Congress voted against it. And it's you can't investigate us for doing illegal things. That's illegal. It's yeah. We're trying to stop you from doing fucked up shit like Chase. What's going on, guys? I wanna consolidate my credit so you don't take interest from my other debt. And then I was like, what do I need to do? Put it on another, a Capital One or something, and then balance transfer the Capital One to you, to the one with no APR. And they're like, I guess you could do that, but you need to contact them first, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. So I guess maybe that's in the mix. Fuck you, Chase. That's bullshit. You can't stop us from making money off of you. That's against our policy. How was I gonna tie this in? I was gonna tie this in. Is that a cop? No. That's just there's a bunch of construction. Dude, being a construction worker must suck. I mean, besides the physicalness, you can't park, they have to make parking for you at certain sites. I remember when I was a ticketer. I remember when I was I worked for, what do you call it? I feel no, this is right. I worked for Diamond for a few weeks, for a month or two. And one of my training sessions, the guy was I'm pretty lenient on this lot because it's construction guys. And I'm like, oh, why don't they get, you know what I mean? Imagine you do your job, hard labor, construction. You get off work, you get a ticket. I'd be so livid. I'd be like, what the fuck? What the fuck are we doing? How was I going to apply this to something about rules? I don't know. The point is mute. Spelled M-O-O-T, I believe, not M-U-T-E. I think I need to stop this because I need to check the Google Maps. But What did we learn here today? What did we learn here today? Don't compare things to the Holocaust so willy-nilly. Maybe that's, and you know, I don't know. I mean, I kind of stood on business, but I could have done it in a better way. Maybe a little bit more private way. I don't like tarnishing relationships or burning bridges, but it's also like, well, the bridge was kind of already burned because the person was like doing like, I mean, it was very elementary, to be perfectly honest. There's a lot of behavior I haven't experienced since like elementary school, and it's like, you know, just shitty. So maybe that was triggering about it. I guess the point is that life happens, and processing your emotions is very important, and your feelings, because those are different things apparently. I always thought they were synonymous. I always thought they meant the same thing. Feelings and emotions were just different words. I didn't know that one of them required a different input of things. Anything else happened this week? No, not really. I'm gonna. I think we go on the 99 North. I'm gonna check the map. But this has been another episode of the Podkatz with Jason Katz, with your host Jason Katz, brought to you by Palantir, ChatGPT, NordVPN. I'm gonna go. I think I just took the wrong exit. I don't actually know. Anyways, have a good rest of your day. See you next week. Namaste.